Beth, and I love books. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Today I thought we'd go through a bookshelf tour while they're still really messy, and eventually I'll do a video where I reorganize them. And then I wanted to go through my physical TBR because it's huge, and I think maybe going through it will remind me of all the books that I have to read, and then I won't buy more books, I'll just read the books I have. So, welcome. Oh, this is gonna work because you can't see the whole bookshelf there. But this is like my YA shelf. Can you see the shelf? Yeah. Okay. So because I can't get the camera up there and then also be in the video at the same time, this is like the top shelf of my YA shelf, and like this is Sarah Dessen. So like YA romances are up here. I've read most of these. The only ones I think I haven't read, the A-List, which I picked up at like a library sale. Listen to Your Heart I haven't read yet, and I think that's it. Oh no, I haven't read Invisible Ghosts yet. Okay, so that shelf, we're down there. I think you can see. Okay, yeah, now we'll move on to like shelves you can see from this angle. This shelf is like a YA sci-fi mystery shelf. These tags that I have, these are like books I wanted to read like soon on my TBR. So this is not on my TBR, but this adorable dinosaur therapy. You can find them at like Dinosaurs and Comics on Twitter and Instagram. These are adorable. They're just like little comic strips, and I love them so much. And I don't know where to put them on a bookshelf. They used to be like a display piece, and then I reorganized everything, and now I don't know where to put them. Okay, so this shelf right here, this is like my YA sci-fi and fantasy mystery kind of shelf. I don't know, my YA shelves are out of control. I have read barely anything on the shelf. I have read Panic, The Inheritance Games, and For the Wolf, and then I've read both of these, Daniel Valentine's How to Survive Your Murder and A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I like them both. They're both perfect for spooky season. I know A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is like really big on TikTok right now. Highly recommend it, especially this time of year. They're perfect, quick reads. First up, probably on my physical TBR from the shelf, Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth, because I was going to reread Divergent, but I just decided that I'd rather pick up a new book by her. And this book sounded really interesting. It's about like kind of what happens to the heroes when the Earth's already saved, so what do we do now kind of thing. And then this one's The Other Merlin by Robin Schneider. And I really like Robin Schneider's books. Like The Beginning of Everything is one of my favorite books of all time. But I read on her website she doesn't love her original books. And this is her newest one, I believe, so I have this on my TBR. Okay, so the next shelf down here, ooh. This is by me. Highly recommend. Okay, so next shelf on here, this is more sci-fi fantasy YA books. I have two books by Holly Black. I read Ty the Valiants on my physical TBR. I have read these books by Scarlett St. Clair. I think they're really big again on TikTok. I picked up the first one. I don't know which one's the first one, but I picked up the first one. Cat Control. Okay. So I picked up the first one when it was big on TikTok. I think it was this one, The Touch of Darkness. And yeah, A Touch of Darkness. I read this one. I picked up this one. I haven't read it yet. I really liked A Touch of Darkness though, so I'm excited to read this eventually. And this is not YA. It shouldn't be on the shelf, but it is. Bunny I picked up because booktuber King Jack Edwards, he recommended it, and I always find myself picking up books he recommends and then not reading them. This one I kind of want to read during spooky season. It just gives me those vibes because it's like dark academia kind of thing. So this one hopefully will be in a reading recap soon. Oh, these books are so good. Okay, this video is going to be way too long, but these books, the Master of Iron series, or is it the Bladed Secret series by Trisha Levenseller. These are really good. I haven't heard anyone talk about them, but I loved these books. I couldn't stop reading them. I highly recommend them. They're new-ish. It's a trilogy, I believe. Oh no, it's a duology. So yeah, it was just these two. Big fan. I'm going to be looking for her books in the future because I liked these ones so much. Okay. And then I have The Fifth Wave and second book in that series. I think we have to move down. We've been moved down closer to the floor because this bookshelf is really short. Can you even see me here? Okay, so this bookshelf, this is missing a couple books because, well, you'll see. This is like my mythology retelling shelf, so that's a lie. This is why I need to organize my bookshelves, because I have the first book in the Zodiac Academy and I haven't read it yet. It's been on the shelf forever. I need to read it. It does not belong on the shelf, but originally this was a Dark Academia shelf, and then I made it a mythology retelling shelf, which obviously isn't working anymore because I have too many of them. Physical TBR on this shelf is pretty much everything. I haven't read probably Ariadne and Electra will probably be on my soon-ish reads. I've been rereading the Percy Jackson series, so I'm really into mythology right now, but I think that'll lead me into reading just a ton of Rick Riordan for now. But these are both on my list. I feel like Greek mythology for me is like a wintertime reading. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll have read both of these. Also down here, I have Song of Achilles I haven't read, Pandora's Jar, Piranesi, Norse mythology, Iron Widow. I haven't read any of these. It's fine. I don't have a problem. Okay, this is a YA horror shelf, as you can tell by the creep. So we have Creepshow. I haven't read either of these. Fear Street I really like. I've read all the ones I own. This is on my TBR for spooky season, The Taking of Jake Livingston. I bought it for spooky season like 2 years ago. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard great things. So this is definitely on there this year. And then we have like a million Goosebumps books because they're classics. And then down under that is just a bunch of children's books. Because if you didn't know, I have a degree in children's literature. A lot of these are just books that I literally got for school and I never gave back because they're children's books and I love children's books. And then I also have Halsey's book of poetry. I Would Leave Me If I Could. These are depressing. Beautiful, but depressing. And that just sits here because that's the only poetry book I have, so that's where it goes. And that is it for one shelf. And I think we're 30 minutes in, so next shelf. Okay, for this shelf, we're going to start at the bottom because I'm already down here. Tripod's already down here. Everything's already down here. Okay, so down here is like fiction. And like, can I just rant about the Billy bookshelves for a second? Because I love my Billys. But they had so much space in between the books that I was like, I can order more shelves and they'll be fine. They were not fine. I ordered more shelves and now books don't fit on the shelves. I don't have trade paperbacks, really, because I don't really like reading trade paperbacks. What's really going on over there? Yeah, so I don't really read trade paperbacks. I don't even think that trade paperbacks fit on this shelf. Or there are a couple up there that don't fit. So now I'm just stuck with one shelf that only fits sideways books. Down here, what do I have? The Messy Lives of Book People I picked up months and months and months ago, maybe a year ago at Barnes & Noble when it was buy one, get one 50% off. It was their monthly pick at the time. It sounded really good, and I haven't read it. I really want to. This book sounded so interesting. It's because I live in Michigan. This book takes place in a bar in the Upper Peninsula, and it says that it's a bunch of stories set in Michigan's wild, starkly beautiful Upper Peninsula. So this one's definitely on there. I haven't found a good time to just read it. I think it'll be really good, though. This was another, I think we bought it at the same time because I needed a buy one, get one 50% off with the Messy Lives of Book People. This is supposed to be really good. The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. What is this about? Amara was once the beloved daughter of a Greek doctor until her father's death plunged her mother into destitution. Now Amara is a slave and prostitute in Pompeii's notorious Wolf Den brothel, and it's about her journey. So this sounded really interesting, so we picked it up. I haven't read it yet. It's definitely on my list. There's another one. Same thing. This table gets me all the time. I buy books. I haven't read them. This one sounds really interesting. So the shelf is just like literary fiction. I don't read a ton of literary fiction. And when I do, like, I read this on the recommendation of the owner of a small bookstore I used to go to. I moved away from there, so I don't go there anymore. But and this book was like a solid 3 stars for me. It was beautiful, but it wasn't for me, and it kind of put me off literary fiction a little bit. Hopefully, I'll get back to it someday. This shelf, don't pay attention to the shelf. It's filthy. I have a couple nonfiction books down here, like The Invention of Murder. This was actually really interesting. I really like true crime podcasts, so I really wanted to kind of read this because it says how the Victorians reveled in death and detection and created the modern crime. And it's just something about how murders didn't really happen the same way they do now, like before. And it was just kind of about how we came to like how we are now. We come to this place. But yeah, so this is about like murders in the 19th century and how murder in the 19th century was rare, but murder as a sensation and entertainment became ubiquitous, transformed into novels, into broadsides and ballads, into theater and melodrama and opera. And it's just like about how we took kind of something that didn't happen very often, and now it happens a lot. So there's that. What do we got here? I've read almost everything on this shelf. So this is like Book of the Month books, mostly. Book of the Month books plus a Janet Ivanovich, the new, The Recovery Agent. This is pretty good. I really liked this. The Wedding Dress Sewing Circle I haven't read yet. It's supposed to be pretty good. But yeah, I haven't gotten to it. My favorite on this shelf is probably, I really liked Head Over Heels. If you like small town romances, that was really good. And then I think I also really liked, this is like one of my favorite books of all time, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I would give this book to literally anyone, even if they don't like romance books, and I'd be like, read this. It's incredible. This is like one of my, I would call it like, this is like one of my like 6-star reads. It's so good. I love it. Please read it. Okay, for this top shelf, I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the other shelf because I can't reach up there and then also film at the same time. So that's the classics shelf up there. I'm reading Dracula for sure this spooky season, and I want to read The Fall of the House of Usher from Edgar Allan Poe. And I think that's it for up there for my TBR at the moment. There's a lot I haven't read, but mostly it's my husband that buys the classics and he loves them. So eventually I want to read a lot more of them, but I haven't right now. Oh. This shelf, all the Colleen Hoover. I went through like a huge Colleen Hoover phase, so I bought them all. I've read them all. I've read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I've read this whole series, and then I just recently bought Crescent City, which I'm excited about. But it's so long, I haven't started reading it yet. Over here we have Bridgerton. I've read all of these. I went through a huge phase. After Bridgerton, I think season 2, and then season 3 is still not out. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so that's that shelf. This shelf, nothing is TBR. I've read this entire shelf. I love romance books. They're really fast reads for me. Some of my favorites on here. My favorite Half Night Stand, Christina Lauren. My favorite by her is actually The Unhoneymooners. But I think it's downstairs. I don't think I have that up here. Love in the Time of Serial Killers is really good. The Blonde Identity. And I love both of these Lacey Walden books. I loved them both. And the shelf is more Book of the Month books. I love Book of the Month, but I always get behind, so I read most of these, I want to say. Oh, I also have this beautiful edition of The Violence by Delilah S. Dawson. In this book, I think I gave it like 3 stars, but I really like this author just as a person. So I would recommend this just because I like her. And this book is really interesting, especially if you're looking for like feminism. It's like a post-COVID plague that goes around and makes people really violent. It follows like a mother and a daughter. Yeah, it's pretty. Spooky season would be a good time to read this. Tomorrow I want to read Soon. I've had this forever. Actually, it probably tells me when I got it. Yeah, I've had this since July 2022, so that's great. Read most of the rest of them on here. Spooky season. I'm gonna do a whole video, so maybe I shouldn't, like, recommendations for spooky season, yeah. I think that's it for the shelf. This was, like, easier to go through than the other one, because I read most of them. Up here, we have sci-fi, horror here, more sci-fi fantasy books, and then so many comics, omnibus, everything. And then over here, we have Stephen King, and Dune. And then this is like sci-fi, fantasy, horror. It's just because the Billies got too small to fit most of the hardbacks. So these smaller Billies have to fit the hardbacks. So sometimes they don't all match. And then we have the ones with the tabs on them are the ones I'm like trying to read soon. So the Lola Quartet by Emily St. John Mandel I'm really excited about. And then The Mountain and the Sea, because that cover is incredible. Let me just show it to you. Look at it. And it sounded really interesting. So it's a book about basically trying to learn from octopuses. It just sounded really interesting. And then The City We Became has been on my TBR forever. And I really want to read it pretty soon. And then down here is just like random stuff. So yeah, this is like, that's all of like my office TBR. So I have like a million other shelves in my house. So we're going to go see those. Okay, so we have moved on. This is the bookshelf in my bedroom. I don't want to like show too much of it. Focus. Okay. So this is like celebrity memoirs. I haven't read a lot of them. I read Born a Crime and Becoming. Those are both really good. I read Why Not Me. Probably like next up, I really want to read this Tom Felton one, and then Colton Haynes. And I've read most of this Joe Schroman one. He's from Fall Out Boy. The Josh Peck one was really, really good. That's what really got me into these, I think, in the first place. And everybody was saying Born a Crime was so good, so I had to get it. And it was. Okay, and then we have box shelves. These are not organized in any specific way. It's just like whatever fits on the shelf, because these are just box things. I cannot find my copy of Divergent right now, so this is just a dust cover. But we have like most of the series of Unfortunate Events, but not all of it. This series by John Scalzi. I've read one book by him, The Kaiju Preservation Society, and it was really good. Percy Jackson one is missing because I'm reading it right now. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is just here because Hunger Games is here. And Tales of the Beetle and Bard is here because Harry Potter 1 through 5 is here. And then we have James A. Corey. These are The Expanse. These are my husband's books. I don't know. Chronicles of Narnia. Wheel of Time. The first 6 of them. That's not all of them, but the first 6 Wheel of Time. And then 2 of The Witcher. 2 of the Witcher books here. And then if we go over here. Okay, so over here is Star Wars. We have The High Republic. Phase 1 is over here. Phase 2. Plus Princess and the Scoundrel, Black Spire, Brotherhood, all the From a Certain Point of View books. Those are so pretty. I've read like 4 stories, to be honest. These Star Wars books. Down here we have more. Don't mind the dust if you can see it. It's fine. So that's it for bedroom books. We have some more downstairs. Okay, and this is the last of the bookshelves, and this one's kind of empty right now because I moved a lot of them upstairs. So this one is like horror hardcovers. I've read most of these. The Invisible Girl is like up on my list though because I like Lisa Jewell and I haven't read that one yet. Moving down, we have Emily Henry, obviously. And then Jane Austen, same level. Incredible authors. I read almost all of the books on the shelf, so. And then lastly, we have these kind of random assortment of horror spooky season books. And then these ones over here, these ones are all on my TBR for spooky season. So, yeah. Don't mind the mess. We're back at my computer for like stragglers. Obviously, I have a ton of books over here. These are books like, obviously the first couple sections of my bookshelf I highlighted a lot because they're the ones I have the most stuff on besides like my horror shelf, and the horror shelf is going to be on my spooky season TBR and recommendations. But I do have some books that I want to read soon, like From Bad to Curse by Lana Harper. I've had this on my TBR since last spooky season. Hide by Kirsten White. Somebody had recommended one of her other books, and I picked this one up because it was on sale. And then the other day, at the new local bookstore, I just picked up Crown of Midnight and Queen of Shadows. I have not read any Throne of Glass yet, but I have Throne of Glass. And these were $6 a piece, so I was like, yes, I need them. So these will be on the shelf. This is why I need to, like, reorganize again, even though I just did. Yeah. Throne of Glass. This is another recommendation from Jack Edwards, BookTube King. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. Have not read it yet. It sounds incredible. It says it's a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. Written when the speaker, Little Dog, is in his late 20s, the letter unearths a family's history that began before he was born. A history whose epicenter is rooted in Vietnam. At once a witness to the fraught yet undeniable love between a single mother and her son, it is also a brutally honest exploration of race, class, masculinity, and our current American moment, immersed as we are in addiction, violence, and trauma, but ungirded by compassion and tenderness. The question of how to survive and how to make it a kind of joy powers the most important debut novel of many years. So this is definitely on there. I don't know when I'll get to it. I've been saying that forever. Red Rising, because it's having its moment right now. I've never even heard of it until recently. I was very surprised to read that it was written in 2013. So this one's on a soon TBR. It was originally on this month. I don't know if I'll get to it this month because I'm rereading Percy Jackson. I have 4 of the 5 Heroes of Olympus to get to after I finish my 5 Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I've read a couple of these. I don't know which ones. I picked up 2 of them at the bookstore the other day for like $5 a piece. Yeah, so I'm in my Greek mythology era right now. Obviously. Please don't fall. Also in the middle of reading The Bone Shard Daughter right now. I thought I'd like this a lot more than I did. As you can see, I'm that much through it. And it's just not grabbing me. Does it get better? Someone please tell me if this book is good. Because I don't know that I want to invest the rest of my time. Daisy Jones and the Six is on my TBR. This is not on my TBR, but I read it and it was pretty good. In a New York Minute by Kate Spencer. It's a romance. Taylor Jenkins Reid. I haven't read anything by her, and I feel like she had her moment, and now everybody hates her. So is this like one of her better books? Because I also started the audiobook of Evelyn Hugo. So let me know if this is worth reading. I'm assuming it is. It's on my shelf, so I'm gonna read it one day. Oh, my friend gave me an extra fairy loot box. I'd never gotten one. And this is the book that came in it. It's called Bonesmith. It is gorgeous, and I'm so excited about how pretty it is. Like, look. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen the fairy loot box. But, like, look at it. It's so pretty. Ooh, this sounds like it's gonna be fantasy romance. I hope it is, because I love fantasy romance. And that's a perfect fall read, if so. So, yeah. Oh, also, I have been reading Emma for about 6 months because I keep reading it and then forgetting I'm reading it and then reading it again. So I'm about that far. I love Jane Austen. I loved Pride and Prejudice. I cannot believe it took me so long to read Pride and Prejudice. I was so upset with myself when I finally read it. Because that book is hilarious and no one told me it was funny. So I'm still pretty upset about that, actually. No one told me Pride and Prejudice was funny. No one told me that Pride and Prejudice was good. And usually I'm not a classics person, but then I was like, I'm going to read everything by Jane Austen. And I got stuck on Emma. But it's fine. Okay. So, thank you for hanging out with me, looking through all my bookshelves, learning a little bit about my TBR. If you have any book recommendations, like based on what I said I liked in this video, please let me know. I'm always looking for new book recommendations. I am always looking for reasons to buy more books. So yeah, please let me know if you have any. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it wasn't boring. And if you want, you can subscribe. Leave a comment and let me know what I should be reading if I'm not reading it already. I'm sure there are plenty. And let me know what you're reading for spooky season. Because my next video is going to be about spooky season. So thank you. And I'll see you next time.